let's get into reviewing this.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
One sec. I'm going to watch this. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Do what I say and this will
Let me think for a sec.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
do what I say and this will
So here they have sleep, and so first of all, when you pile drive them, you want to use your shield ability. Like when you went in, you didn't use your shield, so they're getting ult off of that already. Second of all, basically, I'm just gonna show this one real out real quick. Also, one thing you have to remember about Ball in general is the order with Ball is you
Traveling to Hanamura.
scout, set up, and engage, and there you kind of first. I'm gonna talk about it more later. Anyway,
Established.
try to figure out what they have first, because the Ana, if she was ready, she would accept you. She just thinks so. But yeah, so try to figure out like if they have CT and things like that. I'm gonna go over more in depth later. It's kind of vague like right now, but so you can use this window. I'm not very good at it. Let's see if I can get it at all. If not, I have a video. Okay. You go here, you can go up here, then you just roll around over here, and then you can see them go here. And then if you touch point, what that's gonna do is let them know that you're there. So you're not gonna get a tick. So if you touch point, they're gonna come back and touch you. And that's kind of up to you whether you want them to do that. So what that does is it diverts attention from your front line, so that helps the people who are over there get in more easily. So that could be the play if you wanted it to be. You can go here, wait for them to chase you, and that kind of splits them apart, and that might enable you to like, right here, because there's some guys back there. And then these guys up here essentially makes it into a local 3v3 depending on how many people join on you, which I guess I'll just explain that real quick. I had to watch this Ball guide. Basically the way I learned what local like 3v3s were, or like whatever, it's like local XVX basically. So we were in Goats Comp, so I don't know if you remember Goats Comp. It had Reinhardt, Zarya, D.Va, Brig, Zen, and Lucio. And then what we were trying to figure out was how to beat a Pharah Mercy comp. So they had Pharah, Mercy, and at the time they would also have a Winston, a D.Va, and then what else? They had like a Tracer sometimes, and then a Zen. So what you can do against this comp is if this fights this wins, because it's 6 people fighting 4 people. Even though these people are in the game, since they're not present and they're in the sky, they essentially lose the fight if you take the fight quickly. So by doing that, you drag some people back here, and then you can get 6 people to bunch up on the guys up here. So 6 on 3, and then you take another 6 on 3. So that could be the play. The other play you could do is just like wait for them to use anti or something like that, a hook. Or I don't know if they didn't have a Roadhog, but hook's generally a good cooldown to get, or and flashbang. Those two, especially the CC cooldowns, but just cooldowns in general that are gonna be able to shut you down. And then your team's gonna be able to engage off of that. So let's go back to the gameplay. Oh wait, it's under here. There we go.
Now arriving at Ilios.
This is the wrong one. My bad. So where is it? Is this it? Wait, is this it? Oh yes, this is the one.
Traveling to Hanamura. Ready for battle.
Okay.
Ready. Defend objective A.
There's 4 people behind. Wait, here we go. Okay, so when you dove, you saw the Reinhardt and the Orisa. And you did not see these 4 people. So they have a CC and they have a Reaper, which both can shut you down. So essentially, you not paying attention to that gets you near killed. I'm not sure if that's really lucky. I don't know if you were aware of the at that point, but here would probably here would just open up a ton of other things. Like additional features, stuff like that. Yeah, in general, like there's not rollouts on every map, but maps like this where like you just have like a constant space for like 50 rollouts is really powerful. And okay, so you no, they gotta pick onto your member and your anti. So actually, the position you take is fine. So you don't have to be with your team is another thing. You can just sit back here, honestly. Like if you just want to wait till your DPS get back and just chill back here, you got a health pack, you have your hook. This is like totally fine if you want to do that. So let's see what happens. Good. Take 1v1s. This soldier got 500 health worth of ult charge off of you already, so use your adaptive shield when you're in these 1v1s because they're gonna get like so use your shield to prevent them from getting ult because you would have gotten my shield and you've got enough time that you don't need any games right now. Their Reinhardt's purple. I don't know if you heard that Anna call that out or you weren't really in a particular position to be able to scout that either, so that's fine if you didn't see it, but the people being purple is a good way for you to engage on them. That's like an advantage. Basically, you have to be looking for, do you have any kind of advantage? Like, you have a pick, do you have a, like a cooldown, I think I already mentioned, or like purple is another one. Or even attack objective. Spinning is not the play. Yeah, by spinning you don't make any space for your team. You could have gone this. I'm gonna play this in third person just so you actually see what happens. So like I was talking about diverting people so they actually come and look at you. Let's take a look at what happens. I'm gonna say the first person that you guys see the most because the free kill. But you could have. Those people, and while they're in the, actually you do make enough space for your Reinhardt. It's kind of a lucky pin on him, but either way, you do make some space. But you could have made more. You could have like pile drive them, and then you might have been able to get a kill on the Mercy. Yeah. So here it's looking pretty good for you. Lucio dies somehow. I think that's largely your Reinhardt's fault, actually. Even though he did get the kill, he didn't enable his team for you to
new defense point.
to scout,
Objective
to
B.
set up, and to engage. A way you can set up on this one is so they're not set up themselves yet either. Most teams will set up up here. This also depends on the elo. I'm not sure which elo you're in, so I don't know whether or not they're gonna do that. But if they do that, you can come out here, go through here, go through here, and then that'll avoid you touching point, which you don't want to touch point. And it's good to have mind when you do this. You can shoot your grapple onto this thing. You grapple, and you swing through them, and hopefully knock some people off the high ground. But if you don't pop mines anyway, that's when they zone them off the high ground. Take a look at what you do. Fast forward, let's get off that. Okay, if they're playing on point, I think it's probably so we scouted them. They're all on point. Trying to think. I think the best thing to do actually probably would have been come back here and then throw your grapple like here-ish, like instead of going here. I'm not sure if you can still throw it on the floor. I think you should be able to do that. Just try to group some people into your team, and then they'll be able to like your Reinhardt can take a duel, and your Reaper isn't. Where's your Reaper? Okay, he's down there. I don't know why he's down there, but either way, you this sets up an easy flash thing for you in the free, sets up an easy 1v1 for your Reinhardt if you manage to group them into your team. So yeah, in general, there's like two kind of major ways to engage this ball. One, you slam into them with like your pilot everything, or the other is you like just like group them into your team. I think you go for the slam. You get CC'd, and that is the main thing that's wrong with that is the fact that they have the Ana, like you're into powerful, like weighted. Let me actually replay it. So if you have some sort of advantage, the slam is more powerful, but if you don't, then grouping them into a team. You might have been able to get that res. Maybe watch that. Going high ground's fine. Knock the I probably would have knocked the Ana off. As ball, it's largely your responsibility to prevent people from playing high ground. So going high ground is definitely the right choice. But especially when you're against CC, like the longer you're in. Kind of just don't really like engagement from your team. Like you spamming them is not any sort of real damage that they have to like turn around for. It's not like Widowmaker where you're setting up a gigantic amount of map control. It's just like you're just chipping at them a little bit. So you're not really making any map control for your team. Here, this doesn't really either because it doesn't. Once again, it's just not it's not claiming any map control. Like you boot the Reinhardt like from the left side of it to the Arista shield to the right side of the Arista shield, and that doesn't really do anything in particular. You could where is the rest of their team? I think your McCree just pops off and gets several kills. At this point, you would probably be best off slamming the Reaper or the Ana, I would think, since you do have you're down one. I don't know. You're pretty much even at this point since they have such a great spawn advantage. 2 picks on them equals 1 pick on you. So, either way, I think it's probably the best plan. Good decision to use the weapon. You using your shield here prevents you from engaging. You don't really want to be engaging that much without shield, so you have to wait 13 seconds now that you've used your shield, and you didn't really accomplish a ton with that shield. So I would, especially since you're in your Ana's LOS, you might as well just like get like here and let your Ana be able to heal you, rather than using the shield. Actually,
Helden sterben nicht.
your DPS drop off. Once again, I had mentioned using the adaptive shield to prevent people from getting ult charge. In this scenario, it's actually fine that you don't use it, because since you're still in the poke stage of the fight, you're gonna need it to engage. So if you know that you're in a point where you're gonna need it later, then just don't use the shield in the first place. At this point, you're at an advantage, so you going back to get this health pack. I know you're like low on health, but like it's not the right play because you have your shield. So just use your shield to get your health back. Like you not last like long hardly at all. You got the pick and you come in a little late. Yeah, just you being late on the engagement, I think really set you guys back. The engagement was the right idea once you actually did it. Don't worry about your health too much because you can grab like 400 health from your shield alone.
Dein Schutz bitte.
Your McCrean might not be able to fight this on his own. Let me look at this real quick. Okay, so he's by himself, and then he has to take a duel with a soldier and a Reaper and a Mercy. So I feel like you probably would have been best off to like boop these people here and then go around here or something like that. But leaving your McCree, I don't think necessarily was yeah, and then so mines does not inherently make space for your team, because like for the most part they're just kind of pressing fortify, breaking the mines. Eden doesn't do it on this fight, but the Reinhardt a lot of times just like using a shield and just breaking the mines and stuff like that. Using your CC abilities generally makes a lot more space, and then mines. Though against double shield, it's gonna be kind of hard too. But I feel like your mentality is kind of a bit off, where you're using your mines largely as a means of engagement when it's not really.
Seconds remaining.
Ready for combat.
Okay, that's your detail you're gonna want. What? I mean, you do kind of have to engage quickly because they did use beat. But then again, ideally you would have had more scouting. See, like if you had more scouting, you could have gone on the Mercy, and then you wouldn't have gone and like CC'd and anti'd all that, and that would have been a lot easier for you to kill the Mercy. Because if they're just up like that, then they don't really have. Mercy doesn't have as good means of healing herself as Ana does, or immediately at least. So ideally you there and then Valk. So I guess that would have been a hard one. Yeah, just ideally you would, or the soldier would have been another option. Basically, yeah, this is kind of where you're, like, this isn't entirely your fault, but ideally you would have had more scouting and you would be able to pick a better target than one that's gonna CC you. What?
30 seconds.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Initiating. Ready. 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So this is, you basically engage on them too early. So like while they're here, playing defense on Ball is quite a bit different. Essentially what Ball wants to do is create kill boxes. So I guess I'll explain what a kill box is. Actually, I'm just gonna get a new note. Okay. So the way I was learning what it was in what was it? I'm just gonna minimize this. This is annoying me. What was the meta? It was double shield. Okay, so like if you're on whatever the map is, I think it's like Lijiang Tower control center. So if this is the enemy spawn, and then you have like a generally you would have like an Orisa and a Sigma here, and then you have like a Doomfist like here or something, and then a Reaper here or something, and then you have like the Lucio and the Moira here. So what this comp wants to do is like it wants to take this enemy right here and then have them enter, and when they enter, it's essentially you created a kill box around the choke, so that's where you put your map control is right there. So you have your Doomfist and your Reaper that's able to engage on that, and it's basically you force you put the enemy in positions where they're forced to engage on you, because you can just sit there all day. Like literally, if you're on defense and they just sit here all day, well, they kind of have a Junkrat and stuff. So, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to take the spam. There's means of mitigating spam. You can go back here, or like do other stuff, but you have no need to engage. They have to engage on you, however, because they have 4 minutes to kill you and get you off of this point. So you can just kind of sit around all day. And additionally, you being here, like when you're here, you don't have any map control here. So that's where you pile drive. Your soldier doesn't have LOS on that. Your BAP doesn't have LOS. Whatever. Like I guess your Junkrat kind of does, but even then he's not gonna get a ton of value given how far away it is. So what you essentially want to do is bait them to coming into here, and then you can like if you want to play up here, you can kind of jump off here and then go for a pile drive, perhaps, like once they start entering the choke, or you can just you can play up here and try to like knock somebody into your team or something like that. Let's see what you can do. In general, I feel like you're relying on your gun way too much as this character. The main way of making space as this character is not through your gun or through your mines, it's through your pile drive and through your hook. And it's like this pile drive is the exact same problem because you don't have map control over it. Your Reinhardt's not going to be able to hit anyone. The soldier's not going to be able to get any meaningful damage. The BAP's not. It's out of your LOS, and what you're wanting to do in this Hanamura scenario is just create a kill box, mainly on defense, and especially as ball. Is just create the kill box and wait for them to enter the kill box, and then you have map control of them. Like your Reinhardt's map control, mostly tanks take away map control, but Reinhardt actually deals a ton of damage. Like he deals 75 damage per second times a maximum of 6 people. So if he's just hitting, if he hits 4 people with one swing, he does 300 damage in one swing. So what like main tanks like that, like Winston and Reinhardt can deal all kinds of damage, but you just have to put them in scenarios where they can be dealing that damage, mainly in the form of, like I said, kill boxes. Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily. This is kind of another problem with you not, basically you have to make your engagements work, which is kind of a forehead thing to say, but when you take engagements in spots that you don't have map control, you enter their map control, and you've entered the Reinhardt and the Reaper's map control, and it's fine if you enter the map control, but it's not fine if you enter the enemy map control and you're not within your own map control. So like, had maybe the Reinhardt been able to counterpin this guy, your soldier could have taken the duel with the Reaper, etc. You probably could have been able to win that, but this guy's just gonna get back up, he's gonna shield, and they're gonna I don't know, they're gonna regroup or something. But either way, you've given him like 250, 300 damage worth of ult charge by doing that.
System initialized.
Ooh, that's lucky. You need to just oh, wait, that's the enemies. Oh, I seen red. Okay, so you take the other man. You take that one. Like,
Speed maximum.
yeah, I'm not used to red. I haven't done a replay in a little bit. Yeah, I think it's actually probably fine for mines, because what that prevents them from doing is, I don't know, even then I still probably would have waited for them to engage, but I think the mines is okay, because, you manage to, like, essentially when you put the mines here, it makes it kind of harder for their tanks to back up, and, if you do that, tell your team to play with more aggression, because it's essentially, they're forced here, so that you can just swing on them all day. They can't really retreat, and, like, they don't have that as an option, so they either have to, like, beat you in the 1v1s when you have the leisure of taking your own position, which you're not going to do, because if you have the leisure of backing up whatever you want, then you can just do that, and then they can't, which is just kind of your inherent advantage there. trap. I'll probably just do some research on that and get back to you on that. So, what they were basically saying about the just characters that counter ball in general, like McCree and the Sombra, just things like that. Basically, his point was like, how do you counter like a Reaper that's flanking all game? Well, you just keep tabs on it, and you just have to essentially up your scouting game a little bit and make sure you always know where the Reaper is, and then them being behind you isn't going to catch you off guard or anything like that. It's the same thing with things like Sombra and like McCree. Just if you're able to keep tabs on them, if you're able to always know where the McCree is, if you're able to like scout where the Sombra's translocator is and try to break it, or if you're just spy checking, just spamming corners and just hallways and things like that, trying to find out where the Sombra is, then it's essentially turns things that counter you into skill-based matchups. But with the trap, that's so, like, that's so Papega. I'm gonna do just research. Let me just rewatch this fight. Because I think this is kind of what I was talking about with the kill box. So by you being in the front line, you don't put yourself in any position where you can, like, engage on them. So you could be like, you could be right here, and once they come in, you could jump off and pile drive. Here you might be able to like slam into them or something. Or if you were here, you could like smack them and then smack people from out from the Reinhardt shield, and then essentially separate them so your Reinhardt could take like a duel of somebody over here, and then he's not getting chipped away by the enemy Reinhardt or things like that. But I think you frontlining.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Objective lost. New defense point.
Activating shield.
I need enough time to speed. Sorry, I don't know if you so we're here.
Activating shield.
So one of the kids is scouting, right? You're kind of having to relax for a second by being yeah, and you just kind of escape without scouting them. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. So you can sit here and just like third person peek these people all day, and you can see they're going up there. So this is kind of like a niche thing. If they're going like through here and up here, then generally you want to play like right like on top of these little lockers, I guess, and then you jump off of it, and then you slam them as they come in. And this is another powerful scenario to use mines, because if the Reinhardt walks through and you mines it, then you can take a local 1v5 on the enemy Reinhardt. Or playing here is also another powerful position, because against this comp it probably wouldn't do a ton, but generally, especially in Masters, people are like addicted to Hanzo and Widowmaker a lot, so they'll like snipers seem to be really popular in Masters. So especially in that particular elo, you can zone out snipers as well. But if they're just coming up here, then ideally you would be able to scout that, and then you'd be able to rotate over here, and then you could engage on them once they do that. Or if they come through main, then you get a free engagement on them. You can slam them. You can. There should be a way you can like swing on them, or you. What? Oh no! So the way you swing on them is you jump behind them, and you grapple. Like you hit your grapple right here, and then you swing through them. Is another option. But let's take a look at what happens. Yeah, so this is another scenario where by you being outside of like your kill box, you're not gaining any map control on these. You're essentially just playing this character like you're taking 1v1s. Like first of all, you're never gonna like win a 1v1 against a Reaper. Like he's got too much regeneration and he has too much damage basically. He just by math at close range he wins that. Because that's just what the character is designed to do, is take 1v1s within like a 6-foot radius. And that's essentially what you enable him to do, is take a 1v1 in a 6-foot radius. And so your map control is here, really. Within the kill box, your team is staged stupidly. But yeah, that's pretty much where it is. Ideally, your Reinhardt would be up here with you. You might be able to like calm and like say, ask him to like come up here with you. But yeah, essentially, you being here, no one's gonna be able to help you with that. Essentially, is the biggest problem with it. So you have to be paying more attention.
Your mortality field's down. Watch yourself.
Like if they're on you, just ball up and just like go away, go to high ground or wherever you want to go. Just you don't have to be fighting a Reaper all the time. You can like use your grapple to boop them away if you absolutely have to. Ideally, you just roll away. Or I guess if you have to peel for a Reaper, sometimes you have to do that. But he's not like jumping.
System. Don't worry, my friend. Engaging. Speed maximum. Rolling out. Area denied.
I'd say this is fine because you have the Lucio. Basically, in general, you don't want to be doing things your team can't help you with. So you putting the mines there, that's fine because you can use your Lucio to send the Reinhardt into them. If you didn't have the Lucio, then I would probably say that would not be the best engagement. But basically, the Lucio is going to enable you to take like further engagements away because you have speed boost like that. So I think that's fine. Unfortunately, your vision doesn't work well. Like you need to go.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Activating shear. Weapons linked. Activating shear.
You kind of just sit here for. I don't know. This is a really small thing, but I'm gonna comment on it anyway. So like,
Activating shear.
just roll around a little bit. Rolling around a little bit is the difference between you being able to peel for this shatter and not being able to peel for this shatter. Which is really unfortunate because it's really not that big of a mistake. You waste like a second and a half and it's kind of... Priority on the supercharger. can't help you at all. So it's like, had you done this and you've been able to, like, if your team was there, then you likely would have been able to kill the Mercy and the Junkrat. Like, if they were in a position where your team would have been able to fight that. So if you trade yourself for the Mercy and the Junkrat, then that's totally fine. But it's like you're not in your kill box, so you have to your kill box in this scenario, since they're coming main and since you're coming main, the kill box actually changes to right here, because that's where your Reinhardt wants to fight, and then your soldiers got LOS, your Junkrat's got LOSS, and you've got all kinds of cross angles on this spot, and that's where they're going, which is perhaps the worst decision on them. But had you been up here, you would have been able to like carry this fight a lot and slam like right there. Let's see how this game ends in here.
60 seconds remaining.
So I'm gonna rewatch that fight, but largely your responsibility as ball. You have a lot of responsibility to stall. So I'm gonna demonstrate one thing on that.
Traveling to Hanamura.
So first of all, when you're stalling,
Established.
dang it, I don't have the video. I'll show you. But basically, you essentially want to bait as much of a respawn as you can. So you don't have to touch the point immediately. Essentially, if you can get like 2 extra seconds where you're not touching the point and you're just waiting for it to almost get that tick, but not quite get the tick, you can just wait for it, and then you come touch the point. And then that's 2 extra seconds you've given your teammates to respawn. So when you stall, you don't want to necessarily touch the point immediately. You want to wait as late as humanly possible, and then touch the point. Which, getting a feel for that is kind of tricky. And short term, it might lead to G9, but it will essentially enable you to win more stalls overall. And this particular kanji is the one that enables you
Speed maximum. Engaged.
it might be it might be used to be able to let's get back into the VOD. Maybe this is not the right one. Here we go. What? It's not gonna let me watch it? Whatever, bro. Okay, whatever. Anyway, that was mostly anything I wanted to say. Was so I guess with like the last bit, is making sure to stall. So I guess things to take away from this VOD. One, rely on your gun and your mines less, and rely more on your grapple ability and your pile drive ability to engage, because that's mostly what's going to be able to make space for your team. The gun and the mines are there to enhance your engagements, and not necessarily to be the engagements themselves too. When thinking about engagements, scout, set up, and engage after that, and then that's going to enable you to essentially, 1, pick the best engagement, and 2, pick the best target for engagement. And it's going to essentially give you several more options to be able to engage correctly on a target. When engaging, try to avoid engaging directly, like, and I guess when you're engaging, try to like get yourself an advantage first. Like, if you manage to like get a pick, or you get like an anti, or they use some cooldown or something like that, then ideally you'll be able to engage then. I guess let me think back to the VOD. It's not gonna let me watch it again, so that's unlucky. When on offense, engaging, a lot of the times it's powerful to try to get behind the enemy and either bait them to chase you, and by baiting them to chase you, you get the option of taking the 1v1 of whoever's there. Or if they don't chase you, you can oftentimes just grapple on some like ledge or something to the right or left or above you, and then you can boop people into your team that way. Or if you get a pick or some sort of image like that, you can pile drive into them, and then that'll create a little bit more space for your team. If you, I'm trying to think about what else. So that was on offense. On defense, you'd want to make sure you're engaging on people when they're actually within your map control. So like if basically specifically in your kill box. So like whenever they've entered a choke is basically your kill box generally. Different comps want to do different things, but in that scenario, you want to try to be focusing on getting within your kill box basically. And I guess that's the main notes from the spot.